Ivanka Trump tried to distance herself from her father and her family's business during her testimony in the New York fraud trial this week, and yet Trump himself remains far ahead of the GOP also-rans who gathered for a fiery and mostly pointless debate last night. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Donald Trump is far and away the front runner in the GOP primary. He's 40 points ahead of his nearest rival. If you combine all his rivals, Trump would still win. Trump is so dominant, even his own former vice president, who in a normal world might be a top contender, just dropped out last month and nobody noticed or cared. Although, I'm not sure anyone has ever really noticed Mike Pence. He's the color they paint your apartment before you move in. That's how he got away from the mob trying to kill him on January 6th. He just stood on a pedestal in the rotunda, and they thought he was a statue. He's lucky that one guy didn't try to steal him. So there's really no point to continuing to hold JV debates with all the eventual losers. The only real benefit to these debates is that wherever desperate losers gather, there's occasionally some fireworks. Take, for example, entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy. You know, the guy with the energy of a Hollywood assistant who offers you a Fiji water while you wait and then tells his boss you demanded a Fiji water. He's the guy in a zombie movie who says he'll get the car and come back for everyone else, and then he just leaves and drives off. But the joke's on him because there's a zombie in the backseat. And when that zombie lunges forward and bites his neck while he screams singing Life is a Highway, the whole audience cheers with delight because that guy. Ramaswamy got into a heated exchange with Nikki Haley, who served as UN ambassador under Donald Trump. You don't really need to know what this is about because it's all weirdo nonsense, except that Ramaswamy attacked Haley's daughter for using TikTok, and Haley was fired up.
In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Your adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it. And that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy
scum.
answer.
Ramaswamy elicited a reaction from me that I thought was impossible. When he said, you might want to take care of your family first, I actually thought, Donald Trump would never. I'm kidding, of course he would. Scum, though, scum is not a word you tend to hear in lofty political debate. I don't recall Lincoln ever calling Douglas a mouthy son of a bitch, but let's face it. This is just what the modern GOP is. People attacking other people's children in the hopes of winning an election they've already lost. At the next debate, I wouldn't be shocked if Chris Christie just broke a glass bottle on the podium and said, you want to go? Let's go! This whole thing was a demented circus. Compare that to the other side. I'm pretty sure the most impolite thing that ever happened in a Democratic primary debate was Bernie putting both fingers up in the air. Everyone was like, whoa, whoa, Bernie, put those things back in their holsters. I'm keeping them both up. And if you're wondering who they're for, you can distribute them equally among yourself. So you got candidates attacking each other's kids, calling each other scum. Meanwhile, Ron DeSantis is just standing there in the middle of it, getting overshadowed and just making weird faces while other people talk. I guess not realizing he is on camera. And the only thing stranger than that is his complete inability to smile like a normal human being. If you're trying to convince people that you don't wear lifts inside your boots, maybe don't make the my heels are killing me face. Apparently, he tried to improve on the off-putting smile he made at the last debate, but the big note he got this time was more tongue. What's wrong with this guy? How did anyone ever think this was the GOP's next great hope? He's anti-woke and he has Fire Marshal Bill face. So last night went off the rails, or rather, there were never any rails. Going into the debate, Ramaswamy actually said his goal in order to appeal to GOP voters was to act like a lunatic.
I asked him what his campaign strategy, his debate strategy was going to be for tonight. He needs something to shake loose, to break through. He said he wanted to be unhinged.
I'm sorry, your debate strategy was to be unhinged? That's not a strategy for a debate. That's a strategy for getting an entire row to yourself on the subway. I'll just wear an astronaut helmet, no pants, tell everyone the cockroaches are actually CIA spies who can read my mind, and then I'll just put up my feet and relax. Who's scum now? There was one thing they all seemed to agree on, though. They are tired of losing. Thanks in large part to Trump, the GOP has lost elections in 2018, 2020, 2022, and then again this week. And the candidates on stage were fed up with it.
He said Republicans were going to get tired of winning. Well, we saw last night, I'm sick of Republicans losing.
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers.
And you can believe them when they say that because they were at the loser debate. And yet most of these losers who are tired of losing still say they'd vote for perennial loser Trump if he's the nominee, which as of this moment is most likely going to be the outcome by a mile. In fact, Trump has taken to belittling his so-called opponents and making fun of just how far behind him they are, like Ron DeSantis. He's coming up with strange new metaphors to explain what exactly happened to DeSantis.
You know that I endorsed Ron, and he went from having very little to having a lot and got him elected. He said, they like you in Florida, sir, very much. I think I could. Tears flowing from his eyes. I said, I need your endorsement, sir. I need your endorsement, please. They said, Governor, are you going to run against the president? He said, I have no comment. I have no comment. I said, wow, no comment. That means he's going to run to me. And I said, let's hit him hard right now. And my people said, sir, don't hit him. He's a Republican. I said, I don't care if he's a Republican. And we hit him hard, and now he's like a wounded falling bird from the sky.
I like this new poetic Trump. He should do his next rally at a public reading in the East Village. He's like a wounded falling bird from the sky, and through the air he doth pass by, beating his wings to no avail. Upon these wings he once did sail, from under heaven to ash and earth, ending in death where he began in birth. And so I said, once he was gone, here lies sad little Meatball Ron. Trump, of course, is dealing with his own set of problems, like his indictments, which he complained about yet again during a competing rally held during last night's loser debate, although he's also come up with a new twist on his indictment rant as well.
Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, they indicted me. Can you believe my father and mother are looking down, son? How did that happen? We're so proud of you, son. How did that happen?
We're so proud of you. Trump even makes dead people say nice things about him. The other day, a ghost came up to me, big ghost, dead ghost, see-through tears flowing down his spectral face and onto his jangly chains, and he said to me, sir, I owe you an apology, sir. Me and all my dead friends in Pennsylvania voted for Joe Biden. The Washington Post reported this week that Trump apparently has a plan in place to punish critics and get revenge using the Justice Department if he wins another term. And at his rallies, he's been announcing that he'll go after Joe Biden for unspecified crimes, although he can't even say what Biden supposedly did or what laws he supposedly broke.
We will start by exposing every last crime committed by crooked Joe Biden, because now that he indicted me, we're allowed to look at him. But he did real bad things.
Yeah, so much for Poet Trump. Guess he had Gilligan's Island syndrome, where a coconut fell on his head and he became smart for a day, then another coconut fell on his head. And he went back to talking like a moron. He did real bad things. He's a bad man, fire bad. Of course, Trump is angry not just about the 4 indictments, but also the civil fraud trial in New York, which threatens to wipe out his entire business empire. Yesterday, his daughter Ivanka testified, and unlike Trump, who threw a temper tantrum and also at one point basically confessed to adjusting the value of his assets, Ivanka was very evasive.
The questions have focused on her time at the Trump Organization. She left the family business in 2017 when she went to the White House, but the government has been asking her questions about specific projects that she worked on while she was there.
Ivanka Trump testifying that she had no role in her father's personal financial statements.
Ivanka Trump saying at least 30 times she does not recall details about emails, meetings, conversations, or documents from her time with the company.
I expect that she is going to try to do as little as possible to inflame her father, but also to distance herself from any questions that the AG would have.
Oh, come on. You can't distance yourself from him now. You campaigned for him, worked in the White House with him, you sat next to him at the boardroom table. You can't suddenly say, I wasn't involved, all I know is...
He did real bad things.
Trying to distance yourself from your father now is absurd. The only distance between Ivanka and her father is the distance between the quality of their courtroom sketches. Here's an Ivanka sketch, which seems like a reasonably fair depiction. Now, Compare that to Trump's sketch. Yeah! He looks like one of those freaky little demons from a Hieronymus Bosch painting. I almost feel like whoever did that Ivanka sketch made sure to do a good job just to make Trump's look even worse by comparison. They even gave her papers to read. They might as well have also given her a word bubble that says, I'm smart, and given him a dunce cap. The self-professed party of losers lost big yet again on Tuesday, and they're all angry about it, but they have no solutions. Their front-runner is still Donald Trump, who's still facing 4 criminal cases and is still very unpopular outside of the Republican Party. That doesn't mean he can't win, but if he loses and he gets convicted, there's a good chance we will finally see...
Tears flowing from his eyes.
This has been A Closer Look. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching A Closer Look. And as a reminder, my brother Josh and I have started a new podcast called Family Trips with the Myers Brothers. We hope you listen. We hope you like it. And see you soon.